Alright, what's up, guys? This is the list we're about to show for Fox's Highlander Bermuda list. So go right ahead.
Yeah, so we run the V starter. Drawing is good, quick shoot is good. This deck really wants to consistently see its pieces. You could run the old one, but it needs counterblast 1 to check top 5, and we already have plenty of ways to check top 5, so I didn't feel it was necessary. This also has a very cool interaction with Shiatsuyu. We can recycle this back to hand. Very good card. We run the Shizuku for the name. 4 Heal Guardians. Standard stuff. This deck's early game is not that great. You need a ways to survive, so we run this. And we also hard mulligan for this, if possible, for going second. 2 draw PGs. I know some people like running 3 normal PGs to be search it out. I felt like the way I play this deck, I normally am very able to stay at low damage very early on. So I never felt like I needed the 3rd PG. And with the fact that we have ways to recycle PGs, I always thought that these 2 were plenty. I never needed the extra one. We run 3 of the premium soul crits and 4 of the stride ones. Stride ones, you know, you'd rarely want to ditch anything in your hand because you want to have a grade 3 target, a stride crit, and your coutier in hand to do your elf plays. So this is mandatory 4 of. This one, I was using 4 before, but I almost never needed the soul, and I never needed the draw. Like, this was just better to keep in hand as a 15k vanilla. Like, I almost never resolved the effect. And then we run the 1 5k Layla. She's a GB2 target when we search up until Ichini is Anj. She's very good because when she boosts, counterblast 1, bounce it back to hand, you double the power, and if it's a GB2 target, it's an extra crit. So you can call this behind Pearl Sisters, and then you can swing, use effect, and all of a sudden your Pearl Sisters are swinging for like 80k 2 crit, or if you hit triggers, it could be like 160k 3 crit, and it gets really crazy. Very strong card. We run the 1 Kruk, broken card, limited to 1 for a reason. Enables multi-attacks, helps you not die to deck out. Many times we can just call this and keep bouncing coutiers, and we can get like 8 surges with coutiers if we get like a really godlike hand. Also, this enables your multi-attacks with your Pearl Sisters. The 1 over trigger, we're not running the Keter one because you really needed the 100 mil on both Pearl Sisters because they're already big beaters. It's just better to have this for defensive measure as well because we can recycle this back to deck if we draw it. But also because having the plus 10k crit, 10k to all of your rear guards just gives you more value in the long game. So now we're going to go into the grade 0s. We run Bikun. This is an auto win button versus certain decks like Regalia or Overlord. Very helpful card. A lot of decks do multi-attack or Vanguard nowadays, so I kind of feel like this is necessary. And since we have a card that likes to recycle, we can resolve this multiple times throughout the game. And we also run the Akari. This is just a combo piece to extend your combos. When it's in Harmony, put in a soul draw card, and we bounce unit. So we always like bounce Coutier or bounce whatever we need, like Sistico, recycle stuff to drop. Very broken card. And then some people I have been ring 2 or 3 of this. I think it's actually very good just because you build soul and draw a lot more cards. You tutor more things out of the deck. Only problem is space, and that you're cutting out certain flex spots if you want to. We run Freya. Might be a reason why. We don't use the first effect at all. It's just the second effect. This deck gets hard shat on by like retire decks or like Narukami. So I was needing a way to deal with that matchup. So if possible, we always search out Rivia or Freya for next turn. We use Alk, bounce our entire board back to hand. So we play suboptimally because we don't want to get stuff binded by their G Guardians, depending on what GB they're at. But this is just good, so then we can just sit on this the entire game, and then Narukami just cries, and they can only do stuff with their drop zone. Pumo, another insane card. This is basically a baby Citron. One place on Guardian Circle if you're GB1, call another card out, and if you call a card, it gets plus 5k. So this is a 10k shield. You can call out other stuff. We usually call out Resius, which can be a pseudo trigger. But we can also call it Coutier, Sistico, Hanali, another tech card I'll show, Mistov. But this card is really good, just lets you save your GB, and we can also recycle this back to deck. Combo piece Aina, almost never use her second skill, but you can. Rest her, counterblast 1, everything in Harmony in the rogue is plus 5k. So it's not bad because you can like move stuff back, give it plus 5k, and like keep doing stuff like that. But we mainly use it because it gives the auto ability of Harmony, which enables Alk plays. Hanali, this is your win button versus Nightmare Dolls. You need to save Pumo Hanali, be able to live dust turns comfortably. By that point, we usually have 2 to 3 PPDs in hand, so it's not unlikely. If you see one of these go into damage, then you just lose because they restrict our G Guardians, which is very tough. And this definitely helps a lot versus like very loop-heavy decks or decks that launch low multi-attacks. Nikita, this card is just good for fixing hand. It's also one of our best grade 1s. So we Soul Blast 1 or more. For every one thing we Soul Blast, it gets plus 5k, shield and power. Soul Blast 3 or more, you draw a card. So we just play this. We mainly use it defensively. We never use it as like an attacker. We just play it. We Soul Blast at 3. It's a 25k shield, maybe 30k shield, depending if you want to do 4. You draw a card. Helps fix your hand, get you more cards in hand, as well as just be an insane defensive piece. And then we run Miracle, Twin Toe Wiz, PG, Harmony. If it is GB1 and it's on the field and you somehow didn't bounce it back, although most of the time you're going to be able to bounce everything on your field anyway with Alk, you can then discard a card and bounce it back to hand. Betty, one of the best grade 1 right targets. When placed, reveal top 7, bottom deck any card you want to the bottom. The opponent does not see what you bottom deck, add a card to hand. This helps us fish for like Kruk, because we can't search Kruk out because she's a trigger unit from Couture, or just find other combo pieces we need to extend. Another really good best right target, just the generic grade 3 searcher. And it's plus 5k is free, just if another unit's in its column, it's plus 5k. Yeah, super easy. A Pearl Sister, self-explanatory, 28k beater with the other one. Steza, recycle Heal Guardians, because at end of battle with Tyrate, draw a card. When it boosts a Vanguard, Counterblast 1, bomb deck a grade 3 or greater card. So if you have a Nezca in drop zone, you can return that, return any right up over 3. Normally though, we recycle the Heal Guardian, so we can just resolve the Heal Guardians multiple times per game. You draw another card. So this lets us basically draw 5 cards, because we're gonna have Vanguard Swing, 3 check, retire, Counterblast 1, bomb deck the grade 3, draw another 2. So this helps us go super crazy in hand economy. Resius, the fake trigger. When placed on Vanguard Circle, choose unit to get plus 10k, so you always give your Vanguard plus 10k. We use this with Pumo or with our G Guardians, insane card. We run the Overdress Perfect Guard just because it does come up sometimes when we don't have any cards in hand. Also just because I have the SP for it, so I was like, I might as well flex a little bit.
Let's go.
You can also run Transcendental Idol Aqua. She puts a card in soul for cost instead of discarding a card. But I never felt like I needed the soul. And it, you can sometimes put this card back to recycle Shiratsuyu effect, but you never need to really. Superb Student Shizuku, broken card, soft once per turn. When it becomes in Harmony, check top 5, add a grade 3. So usually you just play Couture over this. You always resolve Couture first. Reason why is that you want to get your grade 2, grade 1s, or grade 0s you need in hand. And then afterwards, you thin the deck by 1, so you have a higher chance of hitting a grade 3 with Shizuku. Only time maybe you don't do so is depending, it's very situational, but depending if you already have like everything else not being something. Or like, let's say that you bottom deck something, and then you have to use Couture. You don't want to use Couture first because you're going to reveal your entire deck because the thing's at the bottom. So use Shizuku first to check top 5 because you don't reveal it. Then shuffle, so you have a higher chance of not revealing all your triggers. That's like the only situation will come where you're just trying to hide info from your opponent. Mistov. Okay, this card, honestly, I was running a lot of stuff in this option. I'm bringing it to locals just because I know there's a big blade player, and I know there's like Eradicator. I know there might be a Highlander Mirror or a Grand Blue and everything. This is an auto win button. Like, you play it, they discard until both of you have 8. My reasoning was that I can bounce it anyway on my turn, and since I'm always going to be like guarding a lot anyway on the push turns, this is just to instantly be like, oh, you gained your resources? Not anymore. This is also really solid versus Order Colony. So like they go like, oh, I got my plus 8 in hand or plus a billion because of Book and Gerdora and Scissors is coming out of the drop zone, and I'm like, it's okay. I'm gonna Pumo. Mistov, and then strip their hand, and then they're just back to normal Gerdora. They're just Gerdora at that point, and then I can just easily kill them, or at least push them so that they probably don't have Book in hand, or they don't have the Persona Ride, or they're going to be going to like 4 to 5 damage in a single turn. Grade 2s now. Corey Syria. Honestly, I was running a lot of ults in this spot. Main reason is this is just a consistency piece in hitting Couture. When placed, discard a card, check top 3, add 1 card to your hand. You do not reveal it. Bomb deck the other 2. It gets plus 5k. If their opponent's grade 3 or greater, it's plus 10k. Just very consistent. So many times I grabbed Kruk off of this, or the Heal Guardian, Couture, like depending on the matchup, Pumo, Honolly. Very good card for consistency. We run 2 top auto Aqua. First thing you always search out with Couture. If another unit is in its column during your turn, plus 5k, super free. When placed, you get a bounce 1 card. That's a normal unit back to your hand. Draw and discard. Once per turn. Hard once per turn with this. But this is mainly what you always first search off. This also enables many combo plays, because sometimes you might have like a perfect guard or a trigger unit you call from maybe like Shandy or something. You can just Pumo or Citron into this, or like bounce the normal unit on the field, like bounce your Resius back to hand, and then you can play Resius again very quickly. Searchable G Guardian, broken card. I think this is the only clan that has it, but yeah, this is also one of the things that when you have a free search wicket, you almost always search this. Lace-A-Lot, you can cut this. I've been liking it a lot though, just because when placed, you can plenish a soul, but also you get a check top card, call it, or put it into soul. Sometimes you high roll, you get Pearl Sister off of this, or you get like Coutier, and then you're searching on their turn, or you get a search when you're grade 2, and you already have your stuff all set up. Sistico, please play this card. This card is insane. No one like this card is an auto win button in a grind game. If you return anything back to hand this turn, it's plus 10k, so that's super free. Also though, this is a baby Ghidorah, because whenever you place it, you bomb deck a normal unit, so you can recycle like anything. You can recycle your Pumo, your Honolly if they retire it, your Perfect Guards, your Sandy, the G Guardian. But also if you return a grade 3 or greater unit, then you actually get a stun one of their cards. So let's say that you don't really have anything defensive you want to return. You can just return like your grade 3 or whatever that you really like pitch for stride or something, and then you can just be like, all right, I'm gonna stun that can attack next turn. So then like if they have like some crazy beater, or you're fighting against like Night Storm or something, and they like left it for some reason because it didn't hollow it, or like whatever. Basically, like any multi-attack, you just stun it, and then now it really helps. Especially versus Regalia, you can just stun it, so they're forced to call over it if they want a multi-attack, or they have like an Aura in the back. Other Pearl Sister, self-explanatory. Shiratsuyu, we only run one way to countercharge in this deck. Mainly the reason was that I built the deck to be very tanky defensively. For this one, if you just Soul Blast 1, you choose one card from your soul named Shizuku, you can put it back into your hand, and then you countercharge 1, soul charge 1, this gets plus 5k. So you can return this back to hand. 10k shield does come up sometimes, way to countercharge. But since our deck doesn't really rely on counterblast that heavily, and since we do have many ways to recycle heal guardians and check them, I feel like I never needed more than just the one countercharger. Grade 3 lineup, Anj, Liddy, GB2 target for Anj to search out. This card is broken, limited to 1 for a reason. Wins you to Link Joker matchup, because you just turn any card on the field, wins you Ghidorah. Also, if you're a GB2, you can play a cards to then be able to trigger striding. So you just play Coutier, you search, you trigger stride. Okay, well, you would play Coutier, stride first, resolve Coutier, resolve this. Whenever you place it on Vanguard or stride, Soul Blast 1, bounce 2 cards on the field. So if you bounce one of your cards, you get to search a GB2 target, so you search this from the crit, or you search this out first, and you can search out the crit if you do it the second time. And then you can also bounce one of their cards, you get a draw card. So this outs Honolly too. This card also, you can always search a GB2 target, always have something to stride for. This card, not many people are running, and I definitely think many people like running Nina over this. Personally, only reason why I'm running it is for the Order Colony matchup, because they do lock us out of our G Guardians, and Highlander heavily relies on their G Guardians to be able to defend. So this helps us be at least call out stuff on their field, or call out other stuff where we normally wouldn't be able to. And also because it does get plus 2 points in Harmony, so it's still like a 13k base, although Nina is a 16k base when you put her into Harmony. Riviere, just for the Riviere Freya, we sit on Riviere Freya the entire game if it's a retire deck, and then everything else just pits for stride fodder. Second skill we never use because you don't run a second Riviere. Counterboss 1, discard a card, draw 2 is not bad though. Returns all of our normal units, good against Ghidorah, or like anything that like locks our, like not lock our board because it's not cards, but we can return normal units, so we get past the rest effect. It gets plus 15k for turn 3 or more, and we return anybody's normal units. We can also return their Honolly or whatever, hand trap or whatever they have on their field. And then at the end of the battle, if we return 3 or more rear guards that turn, Counterboss 1, discard a card, restand it, gets -1 drive. This works on Vanguard and rear guard. So this we use as a multi-attacker sometimes on rear guard circle when we go into the Ineska finisher, when we use the Tearless Stride. Best ride target going first. Counterblast 1, return up to 4 units, return 2 more plus 10k, return 2 more plus 10k to her, 3 or more, you get an extra force marker, 4 more, search the deck for whatever you want, call to regard circle. One of the other like insanely good cards, place, check top 7. If all the normies have different names, or reveal top 7. If all normies have different names, call out to up to 2 of them, and they can call any 2. So this helps us find Coutier. And then we play 2 Coutier, consistency piece. Also just, searches out anything, self-explanatory. Never want to ride this if possible, but if you have to, it's not terrible because you can ride this, search out whatever you want, and then hopefully be able to find the other Coutier at that point. But normally you always want to have like something like this, and like something else you can just pitch for stride fodder. That's the kind of the problem with this deck is that to really pop off in certain matchups, you need to have a grade 3 target and a Coutier and something to stride with, which can be a problem. But because of the way we built the deck, it's not super unlikely. Like I almost always hit Coutier on first stride, if not after first stride. And then we run an Eska, real top 10. If all the normies have different names, you get a Protect, Imaginary Force, and Excel in any order. Usually you do Excel 2 for the draw, Force 1, of course, because we need to hit big numbers. We don't really need the crit because of the Pearl Sisters, and we get Protect 1 to add the extra PG. And then also, this is very strong because sometimes you do actually Excel 1. Only reason why is because you don't want to deck out. And the extra 5k isn't like non-trivial. And then this is mainly your finisher, as you get the extra rearguard circle, and then you be able to do all these other crazy turns, which I'll explain later in the video because we're just going quickly over the deck.
Rare footage of Excel 1 actually being useful.
Yes. All right, and then the 4 strides that we always go into first if possible, if we have Couture. Alk, Counterblast 1, bounce 2 cards with the Harmony ability. That's why we run Aina. Aina gives the Harmony ability. They don't have to be in Harmony. They must be the ability. So we can bounce back like Couture, Shizuku if we give Couture the ability, or Aina. Aina is definitely why we need this, so we can resolve this very easily. And then when it attacks, bounce up to the number of cards in your face-up G-Zone +1. So you Persona Flip, you Counterblast 1 Persona Flip for the skill, bounce 2 Harmony ability cards. When it attacks, you bounce up to the number of cards in your G-Zone +1. So if you did this, you have 2 of them, you bounce 2, call up to 2, and then when it's in GB3, all cards in Harmony get +5k, which does come up sometimes. 2 Shandy. Honestly, this card isn't like amazing, but this is just like, if you haven't found Couture, this helps you find it very easily. Like, there's only been like 1 game where I've never found Couture after using Shandy. Harmony as well. If everything's in Harmony, it gets a crit for everything on G-Zone face-up. Almost never happens, but main skill is that when it Counterblast 1, flip any G-Zone card up, so you can place like an Alk or something. And then afterwards, you look at top 10. For the number of cards in Harmony, you can call up to that many. So you'll always have at least 2 cards in Harmony because you'll place a card behind Shandy. So then you'll have 2 cards in Harmony, you can call up to 2. Helps you find Couture, unless you get to your win con. 2 Tirla. This is your win button in grind game. You can flip another card for cost, and then it gets the effect for every open rearguard circle, it gets +5k. So it can become a strong beater of like 60k, 70k depending. And then also it has a GB3 skill. At the end of the battle it attacked, you can bottom deck up to 3 cards of any cards on your field or any units. If you did 3, restand it, it gets -2 drive. So this is how you bottom deck stuff so you don't deck out, and also you get to restand with this and get to do multi-attacks. And then the one perfect performance Anj, Counterblast 2, flip a G-Zone card. This is GB2 skill, and then you bounce any number of cards, or cards. Yeah, so it works around Link Joker on the field. If you bounce 5 or more, you get a draw card. If you bounce 7 or more, you get an extra drive. For every card you bounce, she gets +5k. So she's hitting for like 80k. This is mainly just for like Order Colony or Link Joker, and this is also when you're behind. You can use this to generate your card advantage, and you can easily go like 15, 20 cards in hand if you're losing. 1 Oprina, Soul Blast 1, bounce 2 cards, solid card, just to get around damage deny, although most of the time people don't damage deny this deck. But if you need to, don't have any open counterblasts, or you just need to be able to get stuff back to your hand quickly, this is not bad. And then we run 1 Sabreeze just for grade 2 gaming. Some decks, like some Order Colony players I do play against, like to grade 2 game with me just because they think they can outgrade 2 game me. So I am able to play around with Sabreeze and just keeping rear guard stood to work around Brilliant Blister and Giraffa. And then 2 Citron, 1 Leona, and then 2 Sandy. This one, when placed, call a card. If it's grade 1 or greater, you get this gets +10k, so 25k shield, and you resolve it. So you can call it Resius, get +10k to Vanguard, call it Couture, search on their turn, call out your hand trap of Mistaf or Pumo or whatever, or Hanali, and just go to town. This card, when placed, bounce a card on the field back to hand. You must call a card back to Guardian Circle. If it's the same card, you get +5k. So this is just like, if I need to, I'm going to get back my Couture or my Resius, whatever I need back to hand, and then call something else out to Guardian Circle. I might cut this, honestly, for the new one. The Counterblast 1 when it comes out, but for now I like this. And then also, I might cut 1 Shandy for the new stride Heltruda, or I might cut Elfrina for it, or Sabreeze, depending on the meta. But I've been liking 2 Shandy just because, in case I get really boned by the top 10. And then Sandy, this is your main way of living when you have that massive hand size. GB1, When in place, flip another G Guardian. For every 2 cards in your hand, you get plus 5k. So at times we'll have like 18k card, like 18 cards in hand. That becomes 18 divided by 2 is 9. 45 becomes like 60k shield. Counterblast 1, get another plus 5k. So this just like you can just do this. Like, okay, I do this. Your Vanguard's being like, oh, I got extra 50k shield now. I'm at 63, and your Vanguard is swinging for like 27 or 35. That's 3 to pass. Go for it. Or like that's no pass. Over trigger to pass. So yeah, very insane card. That's about it for the video. Thanks for watching.
All right, thanks guys.